Hey YouTube, it's Bugout. In this video I'm going to be talking about my lovely knife collection. And probably some of you at this point know that I review pocket knives. I have so many reviews out there, and that is what has helped driven my knife collection to be what it is and to remain the size that it is so that I can compare the different knives. And if you guys are curious about anything, of course let me know in the comment section down below. And if you're going to hate on this video because I have a large knife collection and that's just not your interest, you don't share the same interest as me, go right ahead. I'm not going to be able to stop you, and I'm not going to judge you for spending a lot of money on the things that you're interested in. But anyways guys, this is my knife collection. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through them, talk about some of the features of some of my more favorited knives, as well as leave links in the description box down below. So the knife that started it all was the AR 3.0 from Gerber. A lot of y'all are same boat, where you started off with either a Swiss Army knife from Victorinox or a knife from Gerber. And basically, very quickly, in a matter of a couple of years, this knife started to wear out on me. And it's the only knife that I used, and hard used it, so it accomplished its purpose. But I went to YouTube, just like you guys are on right now, and I searched for videos on other knives that could be better than that, and I came across a lot of different options. So in pursuit of the perfect pocket knife, the sickness began, and it started with the Recon 1. I wanted to have a good tactical knife, and this is what a lot of Navy SEALs or Spec Ops and people in the military recommend. So I went with it and quickly learned this is a great pocket knife. It has a great tactical blade, and it locks your fingers into place. That way your fingers don't run along the edge of the blade, which is what you're looking for when it comes to tactical knife. And it's one of the things that I kind of get frustrated for. If it's not grippy, and if it's not built so that it can be used in a tactical setting, just because it's called a tactical knife and it's black doesn't mean it's tactical. But kind of backing up a little bit, so that was what began it. And then as far as the knives that I consider to be the trifecta of knives under $100 in the knife community, it would be the Kershaw Leak, the Benchmade Griptilian, either the mini or the full size. We have different options here, and it's almost like I'm trying to sell you these knives. I'm just going over my knife collection, but I'm also kind of giving the explanation of why I have them. And then the Delica 4, and the Delica 4 I like so much I actually have two of them. In fact, I have one on me right now. So that might be ridiculous to you to have two of a knife when I have so many other ones, but I have my reasons. You're sounding a lot like my wife right now. But anyways, these are all great knives. So if you're just looking for what are the ones that everyone likes, what's the standards, I'd say that those are at the top, if not the top, of any list of knife enthusiasts. Moving on to a couple knives that are over $100 that are at the top of most knife enthusiast lists would be the Benchmade 940, and this is the 940-1 variant with the carbon fiber, very, very lightweight handles. And then we have the Spyderco ParaMilitary 2, voted #1 knife, but from a recent poll at Knife News. So very, very excellent knives, and they both have their reasons, but this one is lightweight, it's easy to clean, it's excellent for deployment, it's ergonomic, it's grippy, it's affordable if you're willing to spend $100 on a quality blade. If you're willing to spend more than that, maybe 160, 170-ish, to have a lightweight knife that doesn't take up much room in your pocket, but it still has a lot of blade for the size, then I'd look no further than 940. Honestly, any of the knives I just spoke about, you can buy that knife and be happy. Don't need any more knives. But I'm not a good example of someone who should convince someone they do or do not need more knives. Other Benchmade knives include the Presidio Ultra, which I actually like more than the grip tilling. That may change tomorrow, but that's how I feel. And then the Crooked River knife I got for my birthday a couple years ago, and there's a couple things that I'm not a big fan about. I wish that the grip ergonomics were better, but you know, it's a great knife. A knife that just came out from Benchmade. It's kind of the new hotness because it's around as expensive as the grip tilling, but it has better blade as well as arguably better handles, and the texture, it's got a rubberized grip on it, is the Benchmade Freak. And kind of moving on to Spyderco, since I already talked about them as well. Some budget-friendly Spydercos include the Tenacious, the Ambitious, which was one of my first budget-friendly knives, and as well as a recent acquisition, which is the Spyderco Efficient, which just came out, and it's, you know, has similarities to this, except it's more ergonomic, more rounded. They basically put a little bit more effort. Spyderco put a little bit more effort into their more budget-friendly knives, rather than just kind of having them being an afterthought like they have been, more or less. The Endura 4, if you want something that's basically a kind of a larger type for a Delica. You also have the Manix 2 XL. No, this isn't XL, but this is the Manix 2 lightweight, and this is for if you want a knife that's big in size, and you know, but you just don't want something that's heavy in your pocket. This is the knife. I carry this often. Similar to the ParaMilitary 3 is the Para 3, which is literally, it's not the shortened version, it's actually its name. And I do a comparison, and in that video, if you guys want to check that out, you can see why I still prefer the ParaMilitary 2 over the Para 3. But it's out there if you guys want a basically Delica-sized version of the ParaMilitary 2. And moving on to, if you just want a lightweight knife, I carry this around the house all the time. This is the Dragonfly 2. Excellent knife. I can't speak enough good things about it. Knives that are a little higher end, but I don't really carry very often, but they're still very ergonomic. I just don't have enough days in the week to carry all these knives. Is the Sage 2. I think this is Sage 2. It might be the Sage 1, I'm sorry. Carbon fiber scales. We also have this is the Domino, and the Domino, I think it's just too expensive to justify it, but and I think that I kind of wish the handle scales were a little bit, I don't know, more appealing, but still nonetheless excellent knife. I think it's kind of near perfect design, honestly, but if you're looking for something a little higher end from Spyderco. Also, if you want some sort of emergency tool, and I carry this when I go outside a lot, or if you want to put this in a Bugout bag or something that you can grab when you're in the car, this is an emergency tool, and you also have a hidden glass breaker back here, as well as a whistle integrated into the handle. And then of course it's an emergency tool, so you can cut a seatbelt off you without hurting your skin, cutting you, and you got serrated edge. You also can cut a rope if you put it in there and clamp down on it. So it's designed to be used like that. Just kind of randomly moving around. I talk about the Trifecta for the knife community under $100. If you want a Trifecta of knives that are higher end, and I'm talking $500, maybe just under $500 knives, then I would say these three knives. You got the Chris Reeves Sebenza 21, and this is I forget what the name of that that point is, ball annotated. And we also have the Strider SNG knife, and then the Hinderer XM18. And honestly, I like the Sebenza a little bit more than these other two knives, but you got people who have huge collections of each of these three knives. But if you're wanting to enter the high-end knife realm, knife collecting category, I'd say the Sebenza 21 would be a great place to start with that. Then kind of keeping on moving along, we have some knives that are sort of more of a classic design that take a nail flick to open, and I think a great example of that would be the Opinel, and these things are $11-ish, up to, you know, $20-ish, maybe $30 for some of the versions of it. But the Opinel 8 is the most popular out of all the different Opinel knives, and I've been to France, and every time I travel Europe, I'm stationed overseas, I try to pick up an Opinel wherever I am, as well as a Victorinox. So I have lots of Swiss Army knives, and Victorinox knives are just great things to have. The classic SD knives. I mean, why not have one on your keychain? I have one on my keychain right now. Also have the Uncle Henry knives. Is kind of another classic gentleman's type of knife. It's been used a lot. I actually traded for that knife. And the Buck 110. You have to have a Buck 110 if you're going to have a knife collection. I think that's the rule. They'll kick you out of the knife enthusiast club if you don't have one of those, as well as one of these guys. And this is a case knife. I forget the type of case knife, but excellent little knife. You can kind of put that in the fifth pocket of your jeans if you want. There you go, good to go. And you know, like I said, I have more of those, but I'm kind of moving on to maybe some of the more modern designs. So moving back to budget again. So we have the Rat 2, and that, as well as the Rat 1. So if you're looking for a knife that's 25 to low 30s, I'd say go for one of these guys. Both very ergonomic, great performing blades. You're really not going to go wrong. They're pretty much perfect budget knife. And then if you want one that's maybe a little bit smaller than either of those two, this is only $18. This is from CRKT. This is known as the Squid. Also, if you guys are curious, I wear medium-sized gloves if you're trying to, try to get an idea of the size of these. Just kind of skipping along. We also have the Zancudo, if you guys want a basically a frame lock version of the Rat knives. And we have another pretty budget friendly, it's very lightweight. Got G10 here. This is the Skyline from Kershaw. I'm not a big fan of it because I don't think that the flipper is as good as the other ones, because you kind of have to use your wrist flick to open it, but whatever. I'm kind of more of a fan of these knives that are spring assist from Kershaw, and these are both new knives. This is the Dividend. It has this made in America. It has an American flag on it on this side. It's a really cool knife. It's trending for sure in the knife community. And then this one it just came out as well, and I feel like it should be trending more than it is. But this is the Almar 3.5 collaboration with Kershaw. And Almar, if you don't already know, makes really lightweight knives, less than 2 ounces. This is just over two ounces. So excellent knives. Another one that I kind of surprised that it didn't catch on more than it has. This is the Grinder, and the Grinder has basically everything that you like about the Griptilian. It fills your hands, as well as a great ergonomic design and great blade shape, jimping all along the spine of this. Like I said, I don't know why this knife hasn't become more popular than it is. So kind of skipping to a little tactical for a minute, but still within Kershaw. So if you haven't heard of the QCQ, which stands for Close Quarter Combat, CQC, I think. This is either the 6th or the 7th, but one of them has a Tanto, one of them has the drop point. But it won Knife of the Year a couple, maybe 2 or 3 years back. And one of the things that this knife does, with my Delica, is that whenever it's being opened, you can use that wave and wave it off of your pocket. So just an excellent design. It's the fastest way you can open a knife is by waving it off your pocket. So if you need to use it in a self-defense role, it's already open and ready to go. So awesome. Moving on to maybe some more knives that are I believe are underrated, are these guys. So these are knives that you don't really hear much about, but this one is from Bastion. I got it in a battle box, and it is a D2 blade steel. Excellent knife. It's honestly, I think it's up there with zero tolerance as far as the smoothness of this goes. You guys need to look into that if you haven't already. We also have this knife from Steel Will. It has micarta handles and very comfortable. It's going to be grippy even in a wet environment. So if you're out in the woods, especially, just a great design and ergonomic, and it's a little bit more higher end. All these knives are, I would say, higher end, more pricey. There's around $100 or more knives, and as well as this knife, which is also in that price range. This is from Tops, and an excellent knife. I wish that it had more of a grippy design, but it's going to be pretty easy to clean. And I actually carry this quite often for EDC. I carry it in my uniform a lot. And then kind of moving, no, I still want to stay in the same category, knives that are, I believe, are underrated. But this is the EX01 from Hogue, and I really like this knife. Very lightweight. I was carrying this recently as well. It's got a button right here that you can press in order to close. That way your fingers are not getting between the blade and the handle when you close it. Just a well-built knife. And here's another underrated knife. You have to kind of use a flick of the wrist with this as well, but this is from Klecker Knives. This is the Cordovan Light. There's a larger version of this as well. Just a beautiful knife design. Okay, now let's go ahead and shift gears to tactical knives, and these are from CRKT, Gerber, SOG, as well as Cold Steel. I'm going to start off with some knives that I think are way overrated, and I'm going to start off with the one from Gerber. So the Gerber ParaFrame, you have two different sizes here. This is their flagship. They sell more of these than any of their other knives, and I'm kind of disappointed with that, with people who buy these, whenever you have all these other options out there. So these knives are, I guess if you think that they're cool, that's great, but they're difficult to open, close, the kind of chintzy feeling, as well as the frame of these. If your finger goes in those, you can run your finger along the edge of the knife. It's kind of an unsafe knife just overall, but you know, it is a little bit more affordable than some. We also have from CRKT, once again, Flagship knives. These are the M16, and I think they sell so much because, first off, they're everywhere. They're all BXs in stores and everything, just like the ParaFrame. And they have kind of I guess an M16 upper type of look. And the reason why I don't like these, and it's just being the ergonomics and the look and feel of them and the weight of them, is because it takes basically two hands in order to close this, because you have a safety back here. This is known as the auto locks, and then you have to disengage the liner lock like you would some of these other knives. There is a way that you can disengage both with enough dexterity and practice. I don't like this knife. Moving on to some Cold Steel knives that I do like. I already talked about the Recon 1, but similar to that is the Voyager. Another just great knife that has a good lockup in case you have to use it in a legal self-defense role. We also have the Finn Wolf, which is a great knife for those of you who are in the outdoors and you kind of want a knife that does some of the same things that fixed blade knives do, as far as the how good that bites into the wood. And the lockup on this back lock is something that's known as the triad lock, which is a very strong lock from my experience and also what I've seen and read. But Cold Steel is kind of a controversial knife company just because of the marketing on it and the claims, but still good knives. And this is the Tough Light, kind of a razor blade of a knife, very lightweight. I use it all the time. I think a knife that's more tactical than practical is this Talwar. This is good for slicing, but piercing I would say not so much. A knife that I hadn't mentioned, but a lot of y'all have been asking me for an update. Speaking of you know, the tips on things, you guys remember I broke the tip off of the point of a first edge knife, but the same thing. I put it through the same test, actually a harsher test with the Recon 1, and that passed with flying colors. So they sent me another one, and this was a prototype, and they've recently come out with the final version of it. But there's still things I don't like about it, but I'll hold my criticisms until I get my hands on the final product on it. But You guys have been asking for the update. They changed their warranty because of my review. They actually shook my hand at SHOT Show. So credit where credit's due. Thank you for First Edge. You're welcome for apparently making your company better according to your employees. I'm looking forward to testing some of your products coming up. Moving on to SOG. This is the Kuki. I think it's Kaiku, or whatever the pronunciation is. We got micarta handles. This is a big old knife I got from a battle box. I'm just not a big fan of it because, I mean, it's big, but also just the way that the micarta lays on this, it still has a lot of hot spots on this. I think the micarta should cover more of the blade, or more of the handle rather, sort of like this one does from Steel Wheel. Yep, Steel Wheel. And then another one from SOG is the Zoom. There's so many SOG knives that I just don't like, and this is one of them. But I do like the SOG Flash too. This is just, it's I don't know, I just don't like anything about it. I'm sorry. But the Zoom, Flash 2, sorry, I have in my uniform pocket, so I wear it to work every day. So very lightweight, and I love that one a lot. But yeah, these are all of the knives that I kind of wanted to cover in this video. If you guys have questions or whatever, let me know. There's a lot of knives that I just don't have time to get to. There's just a lot of great knives out there that I own. I have different stories why I have each one of them. Some of them were sent to me from companies that I requested, and some of them I purchased myself. Some of them were, you know, trades or exchanges or gifts as well. So yeah, that's how my knife collection grew the way it is. And like I said, I'll be leaving links for where you can find some of my favorite ones in the description box down below. So hopefully this video helped you figure out what some of the other knives are out there, and maybe some of them piqued your interest. So y'all stay safe out there, and remember, it pays to be prepared. God bless.